we will pray in a minute, but before we pray, we will hear one more country's report. And I would like to invite Leah from Switzerland to share with us. Yes? Beautiful Leah.
So something funny happened 5 minutes ago. I was thinking, oh, that would be really funny that they asked me to come, but no, it's in 2 days. Well, so I come a little bit unprepared, especially with the pictures. So I'm really sorry. I had lost the place in my computer where I had put all the pictures. And Colin sent me some more today. So I was like, yay, I have 2 more days to put some more pictures. So please forgive my very small PowerPoint. So I am French. I live in France, but I live like 30 minutes in bike from Geneva. So I will share from French-speaking Switzerland because I was involved in 3 mission weeks this year in Geneva, Lausanne, and Fribourg. And let's start with the mission weeks. So is there still this? Okay. So this is the different pastors from what happens in Lausanne. We had one talk on science and faith, impossible mix, by Thomas Rizzo. I'm assuming he's here tonight, an academics. And then, if God exists, why do we suffer? Women, Jesus, and patriarchy. So I was giving those 2 talks. And then Guerrilla Christian, which was an event done by the students. And so one thing that I could say about what happens there in Lausanne, they are a very vibrant student group, very committed. So you could see lines of Christian students being here from very early on, doing many, many different things. And it was actually quite amazing to come here and see the different works that they were doing. And so I gave my talks, the suffering talk. It's quite usual to have this kind of topic. And then one on feminism, maybe a little bit less usual. And I remember this particular one time when after a talk, I really wanted to be available to discuss with a non-Christian. I was like, okay, God, I've done the talk, I've done the Q&A, now I want to do the talking. And I could see everywhere around me there was no non-Christian available to talk because all the Christian students were already deep in conversations. And I thought that was amazing because God did not need me at all. And I could see all the different conversations happening, and that was really encouraging to me. Another, there are other pictures, although they don't say that much. Okay, so this is the team, the Christian Union in Lausanne, and you can see me on the screen. That was the day of my birthday, and actually I could not come because it was my birthday. So I gave them a little video, and it was to start the mission week, saying, "Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Invite your friends." Well, what they did was singing me my birthday and send me a video. So this is a screenshot. Oh yeah, they really are amazing. So do keep that in mind. Lausanne, vibrant group, amazing conversations. And then there was, I think it was maybe 10 days after that, Geneva. Geneva, amazing city, but very, very smaller, let's say, Christian student group. And they hadn't done any mission week for a number of years. And the group this year really wanted to start something, and they faced a number of challenges. And one prayer point that you can take with you is really to pray for this continuing effort after a week of events that were really amazing, but that you could feel the student being tired of having just faced the difficulty of putting on something which is actually quite big, and they did it on their own. And with the amazing staff, obviously, who also faced the challenges. 2 things about Geneva. the first day I came, I was not speaking at that first day. I was listening to another speaker talking on suffering, by the way. And I could see all the students getting ready for the people to come, and they were a bit anxious because no one was really coming. And then I saw a student girl, Christian student, coming with huge bags. And I wondered what there was in those bags. And there were sandwiches. So we've all heard that food is essential for Christian events. We know that. And I'm very used to see people bringing sandwiches. What I didn't know was that she had spent, I don't know how many hours doing them on her own. And that was her contribution for a mission week that had faced many, many challenges. And she was like, okay, we need food. We have no money, probably no church helping us out and giving us some food. We have nowhere to go for the food to be provided. So I'm going to do the sandwiches. And every day she was the one, she's a medicine student. I don't know how much work you have to do when you're in medicine. I'm guessing a lot. Well, she spent that many hours doing amazingly tasty sandwiches, and every day they were different. So that was another very encouraging thing about the students putting on the mission. Another thing that was really encouraging in Geneva, despite all the challenges and everything, was that they had really battled to have the publicity in the university for those events. And they, well, I will spare you the details, but at some points they achieved to have the Mission Week being advertised on the website of the university and in the big panels that you can see at university with the publicity and everything. And it really was the end of a long battle. So it was already a victory. I was there, I told you, at an event that I was not speaking out. And when the Q&A started, someone basically said that the talk was rubbish and that he didn't agree with anything. I was like, I want to speak with that guy. And so I wasn't the one speaking, so I had lots of energy and the amazing sandwich in my belly already digested. So I ran to that guy. I was like, hi, so you have questions and objections about faith? He was a 60-something-year-old man, and he was not a student anymore, but used to be at that university. And because he had spent so much good time in that university, he decided to stay in touch, and so to regularly read the website. And at some point, he saw, oh, there's a Christian-related, faith-related debate. Well, I'm retired. I'm just gonna go. And we had probably an hour conversation, or maybe more than that. Everyone had left, like the event was officially finished. But I was conversing with that guy thinking, wow, they had battled so hard for this publicity to be on that website. That was already a victory. And that 60-year-old guy who was an agnostic came and we had an amazing debate, just the two of us. And then I said, you know what, I'm speaking tomorrow if you want to come back, you're retired. And he came back and we had an amazing conversation. And then another man came, and that he came also because he had seen that publicity on the website and he was a non-Christian. And he came and stayed another hour and a half, and we had an amazing conversation, and he came back the next day. So, students in a very secular country facing a lot of challenges, being sometimes burned out by their studies and having to put on like amazing work, and then they see those kind of fruits. And to me, that really was an encouragement. Then, and I will end with this good news. We're talking about Feuer, the Fellowship of Evangelists in the universities of Europe. And you guys can see that there are not so many French speakers in the room. We're only 2 delegates from France and a couple of them from Switzerland. But we started at the back of those mission weeks that happens in the different cities, Lausanne, Fribourg, and Geneva, an evangelism training weekend that we actually called French or Francophone Feuer. And, oh, sorry, maybe that's, okay, I don't know. you might see some pictures of it at some point. Here you go. Okay. So we are 200 and something in the room. We were 14. But there is Europe and then there is Switzerland. So Colin is over here presenting this small initiative that has just begun. And Michael was somewhere maybe preparing for the talk that he gave on explaining the foundation for a good evangelism talk. And maybe this is gonna work for the next. Okay, we had amazing time of fellowship and worship and thinking about evangelism and reflecting on the mission weeks. And okay, those are the prayer points in thankfulness and gratefulness. So this is me, but don't look at me. Just look at those amazing students. They were the ones doing the work during the crazy mission weeks that we had. And there is over here Flora, who was a non-Christian just 2 years ago. And then she just asked questions to a friend of hers who was Christian. And all the way through the pandemic, she just read the Bible and reflected a little bit more on the Bible. And then she decided to commit her life to Christ. And she was the one bringing like 5 people to the suffering talk that I was talking to you earlier. And when I was like looking for non-Christians to just converse with, well, she was the one talking with her friends from uni. And a month after the mission week, I heard that those 5 people who had been very interested in talking about faith and who were non-Christians joined the Christian group. And Flora, who was just a non-Christian 2 years ago, is now an emerging evangelist. And I will add and end with this amazing young woman over here who not only has been in the committee for Lausanne Mission Week, but is now in the room today after having done not only the driving for the Francophone Feuer, but also a brilliant talk on evangelism. And this is so encouraging. We have young emerging evangelists and people who just love the gospel and want to share it with all of their hearts. And they witness failures in what we call ministry, serving for God, and they just burn out sometimes, and it's hard, but they also are here on fire for Feuer. So think about all those people and bring them next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah and Leah, for sharing with us encouraging stories. We are about now to turn into 2 or 3 people to pray for these 2 countries. And please, can we have their prayer points on the screen? And before we are to pray, let me a little bit remind you about what we just heard. I wrote down some lessons from these 2 countries. So from the Netherlands, we heard about the guy who had no idea where he got to and then later on accepted Christ. God does it quite often in our countries, doesn't it? Many of our students come and they don't have idea where they come to and eventually accept Jesus. Also remember about the empty room in Amsterdam. In our failure, God is still at work in us. So be vulnerable with your students in sharing stories of failure. And also remember Jesus' missionary strategy to use food, and international students came despite of Dutch food. And then just 1 year difference, or the whole year of prayer. Last year, nobody but Christian group came to an event, and a year after, 130 students. And then also about importance of networking and partnership with other churches. And from Switzerland, we heard the story how each student got involved in the conversation with non-Christians after Mission Week, so that was no a single available non-Christian that Leah could talk to. Small group in Geneva who faced a number of challenges but still continued to persevere. Also, let's praise God for the contribution of sandwiches of a medical student we heard about. And let's continue praying for 60 years old retired former student. We aim for students, but alongside we can reach pensioners as well. Pray for French-speaking Feuer, pray for this initiative that just started, that what God would grow them. And for the students that Leah mentioned, Flora was one of them. So let us turn to each other and pray for Switzerland and Netherlands.